But we want to talk about Coach Prime. So Coach Prime went to Colorado despite everything that the coach said last season about how he's never going to go to Colorado. Well, guess what? He's there. He's in Colorado now. And things are different. And we saw footage from the spring game this weekend. Last year, I think they said they had 1,500 people come to the spring game. They gave 50 press credentials. They were giving away tickets. This year, they sold tickets and sold 45,000 of them to the spring game and gave out, I think, more than 300 press credentials. He has that place buzzing. Colorado had nothing going for it, and now here he is. They talked about how he has sold they have sold 45,000 season ticket packages. Many, many things have changed, and there's a lot of buzz. But I said to you, I threw a wet blanket on your TikTok that you sent me. He's got to win. And I don't think that changes anything.
It's gonna take time, but I think that he will eventually win. Now, I'm not saying win national championships, but I think that he is going to make Colorado relevant. It's gonna take a couple years, like I said, but he's gotten some good recruits. Is he gonna be able to hang on to him in the day of the transfer portal? But I think also he's gonna be a benefactor, as he has been, of the transfer portal because he is prime time, right? One thing, it's funny, I was talking to my dad about this. I shared the same TikTok with him. He's like, "I just don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know." And I was like, "You know what? I don't know how many of his videos you've ever seen, Dad. But if you can put away like your opinion of all his flash and flare for a minute, if you were to listen to things that he says to his team, he has very old school conservative views like towards his team and the stuff that he emphasizes. He's very strict, and he has a lot of rules. It sounds like, and it's a lot of the rules are things that I would consider to be old school. They're probably things that most modern coaches don't fight the battle, but he's telling them like, he's in there like a guy has white socks on in the weight room and he's like, get out of here, go change your socks. No white socks allowed. Stuff like that. It's very, you talk about boomer. I mean, it's very boomer stuff. So it'll be fascinating to see how that translates with especially the big time Division 1 athletes. They're gonna type of athletes you're gonna need to compete for national championships if it ever gets to that point. I don't know, man. I'm gonna reserve judgment on Coach Prime. We'll see how it goes. You talked about it before we came on air about how they've got a tough schedule, especially coming out of the gates. So, I mean, I don't think we can make a judgment off of them even based off the first half of their season. Now, if they come out and win all those games, now maybe that's a different story, but I don't think any of us expect that to happen.
I don't expect it to happen. And again, I say this not to throw a wet blanket on everybody's party, but it's different now. Jackson State was one thing, being at an HBCU was one thing. This is the big time now, and it's not exactly an easy conference. Their schedule is very difficult. The 3 out of the 4 games that they play are against pretty high quality opponents, one of which is their oldest rival in Nebraska, who has Matt Rule as their coach. So they are also going through a program resurgence or trying to go through a program resurgence. And I think the reason that I pointed out and sort of be realistic about it is because this is the time for hope. This is the time when people are excited and go to the spring game because you want to see the players that are out there. You have a brand new coach. This is a program that has been in the graveyard of college football for damn near 20 years. I can tell you that a colleague of mine where I work, he is a Colorado guy and he is depressed. He's hopeful now. Now, will that translate to wins? And will Coach Prime even be there more than 3 years? Nobody knows that. If he's really successful there, and I mean make 3 bowl games in a row, he's gone. He's going to take a bigger and better job. And why not? That means he's talented at what he does and he should get compensated for what he does. But it sounds like he has full autonomy of this program. And honestly, I think that that's what they needed. And you're right, he is more old school. I also understand that he has a lot of control over the NIL money that gets doled out. That receiver that really dominated the spring game, he's already in the transfer portal. So there's a lot of things I think we're not privy to and we don't know. As you said, guys are going to leave, guys are going to come in. He certainly is going to recruit his ass off and he's going to get players to go there and want to play for him. I just think that eventually you're going to have to win and prove that all of the stuff that you can do in the soft skill department translates to wins on the field. That part is going to be hard. And I think that people are going to have to taper their expectations on it. That's all that I'm warning people about.
That's fair, I think. I think that you mentioned he has full autonomy, and I imagine that he would not have taken the job otherwise, is my guess. I think he probably and this is, this is where maybe we missed it. I missed it, I should say, in thinking that he wouldn't take this job because of how piss poor of a job it looked like on the surface. And probably in reality is right now today. But he looked at it as I want to go in there. I want to go somewhere where I call all the shots, control over the NIL money. And the only place that's even going to give you a shot at something like that is somewhere that can't go any lower than where they already are,
Yeah.
that has nothing to lose, basically. So, looking back, hindsight's always 2020. This may have been a match made in football heaven.
I think that it will be. I'm intrigued by it. It certainly makes me excited. I'm going to actually tune into Colorado football. Who knows? Maybe we should travel out to Boulder, Colorado and do a live broadcast from the very first game when they get trounced by whoever it is, TCU, I think, who just went to the national title game. You never know. And I will be excited. It's got me hopeful as a casual fan of college football, as everybody knows. I'm definitely rooting for the guy because I think that it's good for college football to have personalities in the sport. He is a lot of what Nick Saban is not. He probably embodies a lot of the traits, and I'm talking about the old school mentality of of working hard and a certain look to your program and all that kind of stuff, how you carry yourself. But he is not Nick Saban in his business approach. He is prime. That's who he is, and I think that's what you're bringing in, and that's what kind of a splash that you want to make. And I think you're 100% correct. He's not going to go to school that's going to try to tame that. He's going because you're getting the full package. You're getting Coach Prime. And Colorado was like, you know what? We can't afford to pay you, but we need you here.
Yes, no, and it'll be curious to see what happens if he does have success there and some of these more prominent programs do come calling. Is he gonna be able to have the same autonomy at those places if that time comes? But to his credit at that point in time, he would be able to say, "Hey, it worked here. Look what I did here. They let me do this, 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 and this. Look at the results. You either want it or you don't." And I think that he's the type of guy that would lay it out just like that, I imagine.
Oh, yeah. There's no way. And honestly, if he comes into a school like, let's say, Auburn or wherever, I assume the SEC would be a natural landing spot at some point. He's going to come in with a lot of credentials and say, this is what I'm bringing to the table. You cannot stifle that. And there's no way that they would stifle it because they need him. If you're bringing him in, you need him. And I think that there are going to be schools that are going to seriously evaluate where they are. And they're just going to say, okay, we need to bring in this guy, especially if he's successful. Time will tell on that.